All right, we're doing circles again. This time in section 8, we're going to be talking about equations of circles, meaning how we graph them and how we put them on a coordinate plane. All right, so you know that in math, your different types of functions each different type of function has a different type of graph. So, for example, a quadratic equation has a graph that looks like a parabola. A linear equations graph is a line, right? Circles, too, have their own equations. So just like parabolas have their own equations, so do circles. The standard form of the equation of a circle is this. Okay? Now, what does all this mean? Well, you know that if you want to graph anything, first of all, you need your variables x and y. So those are my variables x and y. In addition to that, okay, we learned last time that a circle has specific characteristics. One of the most important things about a circle is that it's got a center and it's got a specific radius. This equation spells out the radius and the circle and the center. So from here, R is the radius, and these two, H and K, are the center. Okay? So let's start writing equations. So here, if I have my center at the origin, what are the coordinates at the origin? 0, 0. That means my H is 0 and my K is also 0. Okay? And the radius is 5. So let's write down the standard form of a equation of a circle. It's x minus h squared plus y minus k squared is equal to r squared. You might be wondering if you have to memorize that formula. You absolutely do. Okay? Now, if h is 0, that means what we have here is x minus 0 squared plus y minus k, k is also 0 squared, is equal to 5 squared. Right, so I'm just doing this to run you guys through it. Obviously, we never write x minus 0 squared. That's just x squared plus y squared is equal to 25. In fact, I don't want to see you leaving x minus 0 or y minus 0 in your final answer. All right, here's another one. We have a center. This time it's not 0, 0, but it's negative 1 and 3. So again, we label h and k. That's good practice for you to do that. Just label the center h and k, and this is your radius. The equation is x minus h squared plus y minus k squared is equal to r squared. Now, be careful here because it's x minus h, negative 1, squared, plus y minus 3 squared is equal to root 11 squared. You can do it all in your head. You don't have to do it all in your head. Go slow. Just make sure you don't make mistakes. These problems can be easy enough for you to be able to just win free points. So don't just, throw that away with careless mistakes. Here we have x plus 1 squared plus y minus 3 squared is equal to 11. All right, and that's the equation in standard form. All right, so what about this one? Okay, now we're moving things up a notch. No, you don't FOIL. No, you don't. All right, so this one says the center is at negative 2 and 4. So what variables are negative 2 and 4? What are they? H and K. So what about the other one then? All right, so this is H and K. And if it says it passes through these points, those are your X and Y. What information am I missing? I'm missing the radius. But what I have to do now is I need to find the radius. All right. So, to find the radius, let's think about this for a minute. If you know where the center is, and if you know that your circle passes through some point X and Y, right? How would you possibly be able to find the radius? Which formula? All right, I have the coordinates of the radius, and I have the coordinates of the center, and I have a point on the circle. How can I find the radius? Distance formula. You can do that too. You can do that too. In fact, let's do it that way. So x minus h squared plus y minus k squared is equal to r squared. So this is negative 6 plus 2 squared plus 7 minus 4 squared is equal to r squared. 25 is equal to r squared, so r is 5. All right, so now we plug things back in. It's going to be x plus 2 squared plus y minus 4 squared is equal to 25. Yeah. In fact, let me tell you something. Do you really need r, or is r squared what you need? R squared is what you need. So really, you could just stop at that point right there. All right? You don't have to go another step unless you're specifically asked, what is r? If you're just doing this for the purposes of plugging it into the equation, just stop at r squared. Okay? Yeah.
For answers like these, where maybe, let's say they ask you to find r specifically, would you rather us find the decimal or leave it in like simplified radical?
If it's not specified, simplified radical form. Yeah. The radius is 5. The formula is r squared. That's why it's 25 here. Right? The formula is r squared. The radius is 5. R squared is 25. Yes? X plus 2 squared. It's so when you write the equation in standard form, you've got to have your variables in there. Any equation, right? If you write an equation of a line, you have to have y and x in there as variables. Otherwise, it's not an equation. It's just numbers added to each other. All right? If you write an equation of the line, it's always going to look like this. X and y are always present as variables. Otherwise, it's not an equation. It's just an expression. Okay. Graph. Okay, so now we're going to graph. Okay? We know how to do this. What you need to identify is the center and the radius. And I want you to always write. I need you to always write down the center and the radius. Here, the center is what? All right. The center are the numbers that are in the parentheses along with the x and the y. In this case, it's 0, 0. And the radius is 4. Right? Because this 16 is r squared. This is the most common mistake made by students the first time we go through it. Now, by Algebra 2, you will already be, you will already have gotten the hang of it. But it's important for this year to always remember that that's not r, that's r squared. Right, because there are, you see how here there are numbers in front of, with the x? Here the x and the y are alone. So it's like it's x minus 0 squared, y minus 0 squared. No compass, you plot the center, 0, 0. Now the radius is 4. That means you have to go outward a unit, 4 units in each direction. So 4 units this way, 4 units this way, this way, this way, And please do your best to draw a smooth circle. That's all you do. Okay? All right. In the next one, let me say something here. You need to write the center and the radius. For the center, remember it's h and k. So you're going to look at this number and this number. If it's x minus 2, then you take 2 from here because it was x minus that number. And so if you have y plus 1, what would the y coordinate be? Negative 1. All right? You have to take the opposite sign because the formula is y minus k, x minus h. When it goes into the equation, it switches signs. So when you extract it, you have to switch back. So what is the radius here? 9 or 3? 3. So these are the numbers from which you take your h and k. But you have to change sign. Because when h and k went in there, it was x minus h. So they switched signs. And y minus k. All right? What do you call it? The center is at 2 and 1. 2 and negative 1. So there. I have a radius of 3. So from the center, count 3 in all directions. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And that's it. All right, and I want to see that you've taken care to really, draw nice little circles. They don't have to be perfect, but they have to be near perfect. You can always, it's practice. All right, now this stuff. Okay. This stuff's super important. We'll practice drawing circles in a minute, but this stuff is super important right now. For each circle, with the given, there was a few words missing there. All right. It's like this. For each circle, it should say, the equation of a circle is given. All right. State the coordinates of the center. What we have to do is we have to put the equations in standard form. All right. For this, we have to use completing the square. You guys have done this. We're gonna review. All right. Let me have your attention. So what you do first is this. You want to group the x's together and the y's together. So here you get x squared plus 8x, and you have to say plus a number, so that's the x's. Now the y's, you have y squared minus 14y, so plus y squared minus 14y plus a number equals, this 40 has to go to the other side. So negative 40 plus a number and another number. Okay, so look, you're adding a number here, you have to add it to that side. You're adding a number here, you have to add it to that side. Okay? Now we have to figure out what numbers you're going to add there. Whatever you do to the right side of the equation, you have to do the same to the left side of the equation and vice versa. Okay? All right, so what number goes there? You take this 8, divide by 2, and then square. Okay? Always. You take the number divided by 2, square it. It's from algebra. Okay, that's fine. I'm teaching it to you now. I'm teaching it to you now. It doesn't matter if you didn't get it before. Now, I need to put another number here. I take this 14. All right, so 8 divided by 2 is 4. You square it, you get 16. Okay. So one more time. For this number, it's the 14 divided by 2 squared. 14 divided by 2 is 7. When you square it, you get 49. Whatever you add here, you must also add there. Now, the reason why we did this is because now we can magically factor this like this. That's why we did this. You take the square root of the first one, the square root of the last one. There is a plus here. There is a plus there. Now we're going to do the same thing with the green. So it's plus here. You take the square root of the first one, the square root of the last one. There is a minus here. You put a minus there. Squared. Yeah, whatever sign is there. Equals all of this happens to be a nice little round 25. Okay? What does that look like now? That's the thing we just did. That's the equation of a circle. Do you see that? Isn't that cute? Yes. I'm going to do another one. So now I have an equation of a circle magically. The center of this circle is what? Negative 4, 7. And what's the radius? 5. So, negative 4, 7. Hang on. So if it's negative 4, 7, then we can recalibrate this. We can recalibrate it though. So I make this a 4, 8, and this is a 12, and then this is a 4, this is an 8, and this is a 12. Huh? Because it was 7 and it would have gotten... So negative 4, 7, 4, 6, 7. And now your radius is 5, right? So it's 1, 3, 5, 1, 3, 5, 2, 4, 5 this way, 2, 4, 5 that way. All right. All right, so let's do this one. I need everybody's attention again. We're going to group the x's together. That's this one and this one. Now the constant is already on the other side, so that saves us one little step. All right, so it's going to be x squared minus 6x plus a number plus y squared plus 4y plus a number equals 3 plus how many numbers? 2 numbers. One from the x's, one from the y's. Now, we need to figure out what that first blank is going to get. You take the 6, you divide by 2, and then you square. You get a 9 and a 9. This is fun. Then you take the 4. What do you do to it? Divide by 2 and square. Why divide by 2 and square? That's the rule. Always divide by 2, always square. So that's a 4, and this is a 4. So now I can factor this. It's x, what? Minus 3 squared plus y plus 2 squared. So how are we doing? Oh, this is a 4. Y plus 2 squared. So how are we doing this? You take the square root of the first number, that gives you x. You take the square root of the last number, 9, that gives you a 3. There is a minus here, you put a minus there. Okay? Equals the 3 and the 9 and the 4 give you a 16. Okay? And now look at that. You have your equation of the circle in standard form. Okay? So what's the center here? 3 and negative 2. And what's the radius? 4. This is exciting. Oh my God, I will do like 3 pages of this and not complain once about it. Yeah. On the plane to Israel next year. You need to recalibrate, says Liam. So let's recalibrate. So 4, 8, 12, 4, 8, negative 4, negative 8, negative 12. So here, we're at 3 and negative 2. You do, because the radius goes, the radius makes it go out. That's still not good. All right, so now we're counting up 4 and down 4 and over 4 and over 4. Oh, I messed up on that circle. I'll do it again. All right, so that's that. Now,